G'day champions. Capoferro has been hard done by. So it is my solemn duty to read the fucking book. That's right. So when you actually read Capoferro, turns out that he's fucking full of really, really useful information. He has a section in here which is an explanation of fencing terms, where he quite literally explains fencing to you simply. Like, it's... Get a load of this. Gaining the opponent's sword is done either to advance into measure or to uncover the opponent to the inside, outside, above, or below, but always in a straight line, while he moves or is stationary. The technique is most often performed in two tempi. In the first tempo, you gain the opponent's debole with about a palmo or a palm of yours. In the second, as the opponent performs a cavazione, begin gaining his forte with or without a contraccavazione. Make sure you perform these actions in a straight line, and that the forte always accompanies the debole and the motion of the foot. Allow me to repeat that the forte always accompanies the debole and the motion of the foot. Great. Thank you, Capoferro. What else do we have here? Yes. Controlling the opponent's sword. There's a really funny thing about this, is that this can also be interpreted as dominating the opponent's sword. There are two ways in which you can control or dominate the opponent's sword. The first is, after you have gained the sword, you strike him without ever relinquishing control of the blade. And the second is that you beat the opponent's sword in any manner so as to momentarily push it out of presence. While his sword moves propelled by your beat, it is considered to be in your control, because you should use that tempo to strike the opponent before they can recover. In sword alone, the control of opponent's sword can be related to the motion or stillness, to the thrust or the cut. You may control the opponent's sword with your forte while parrying, or you may beat it with your debole to find a tempo or the measure. After gaining control with the opponent's sword with your forte, you should never riposte with a cut, but always with the thrust. I just want to extrapolate a little bit here. We're talking specifically about your sword-on-sword contact, on fully controlling it. Notice how when we talk about gaining the sword, there isn't this idea that it's written here. You just read the fucking book. All right. What else have you got here? Lovely. Beautiful. Okay, a little bit more Capoferro for you. The sword has a forte, a debole, a true edge, and a false edge. Some divide the sword into 3 equal parts. That is, the debole and the forte at either extremity, and a middle part that shares the properties of other 2 sections, with the defensive and offensive functions. Others yet divide the sword into 4 sections, also without any practical reason. All such terms are easy to understand and self-explanatory. Thanks, Cap. Here is another extremely useful bit of information right underneath that. Here we go. A guard is commonly understood to be a certain position of the hilt. Did you know that? I didn't know that. The hilt forms the hilt. I'm going to translate the Italian. There's prima, seconda, terza, quarta. I'm going to translate that into English, just because I find it easier. The hilt forms the first guard when it is located higher than the shoulder. The seconda is when it is at shoulder height. The third is when it's lowered to the right and the outside of the knee. And the fourth is to the inside of the thigh. These are called the 4 main guards. And up to this point, every match is pretty much in agreement. But when it comes to the stance, the arm, the torso, the legs, and the direction of the sword, we start hearing different things. I love Cap. He's so funny. Some advocate the narrow stance, others the wide, and others yet the medium. Some keep the arms extended, others hold it more or less withdrawn. Some keep the body bent, some forward, some back, some standing guard with their right foot forward, some with the left. Some keep the sword in a straight line, while others keep it high, low, or either side, forward or backward, in as many lines as the world has ever seen. And there are those who, depending on the situation, make equal use of all of the guards I've just described, according to their properties. These guards are known as high, low, narrow, and wide, or by other whimsical names given to them by their masters. The third and fourth guards are the counter guards, to gain the opponent's sword to the outside or inside respectfully. Or all guards can be counter guards when they are chosen according to the different lines the swords can make. Read the fucking book! Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks, Cap. You should all read it because he literally spells it out for you. An explanation of all the terms.